Hello everyone and welcome back to The Rundown at SHOT Show 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are coming at you from, where are we at again?
We're in the Beretta Media Zone, the Beretta Media Zone.
It's been a long day, folks. It's been a long day. But we're having a lot of fun, and we've had the opportunity to speak with folks all throughout the Second Amendment and firearms community. We've met and talked with influencers, with entertainers, with news folks, with manufacturers, with trainers, and now we have a chance to speak to one of the top advocates for the Second Amendment here in these United States. He is the president and CEO of Gun Owners of America, and that would be Mr. Erich Pratt. How are we doing today, sir?
Doing great. Great to be with you guys.
It is phenomenal to have you. And with you, you have Mr. Matthew Patterson. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Great to be here.
Do you prefer Matt or Matthew?
Honestly, either one's okay.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So how are things looking in the 2A community?
Well, there's a lot going on, as you can imagine. We are in the courts. We are fighting in Congress. In fact, we just yesterday won a battle in preserving the Senate filibuster. And I don't want to get real wonky, but it really makes a difference in saving our gun rights if to pass gun control, they need 60 votes versus just 51 votes. That makes all the difference in the world. And of course, Schumer and company, they're trying to get rid of the filibuster so that they can ram all kinds of junk through. So anyway, we won that yesterday. Our activists have been tremendous. They've been in fact, we've been going into states and, ginning up gun rights activists to make phone calls into Center Cinema's office in Arizona, Manchin's office in West Virginia, some of these key offices. And so it's really exciting to see them actually sticking to their guns, so to speak. Anyway, so no, it's been a lot going on. And then at the state level, I mean, constitutional carry is exploding, and we've been in the heart of that, helping get that passed in the 5 states that passed it last year, and we're looking at a whole nother slew of states this year coming up.
Well, I think a lot of the success has to do with, in particular, how advocates are becoming better at advocating, and that kind of leads me to what I wanted to talk about, and that is your book here, Firing Back. I mean, let you guys see that, check that book out right there. Tell me a little bit about this book, because I'll tell you, I think this has probably got some real good keys for people who are interested in advocating and being advocates for our fundamental right to keep and bear arms.
Well, absolutely. In fact, this is all about training the next generation of gun rights activists how to defend our Second Amendment. Another YouTube show, so yeah, I won't mention, but anyway, he wrote the foreword for this, and he said this book is like the Jedi Master giving away his secrets. And and here's why. I mean, I've been debating the anti-gun left, as you know, Craig, for over 30 years, and so I give a lot of really key arguments, like arguments that I have found in my experience will pull people over, how to win arguments, but it's more than just that. It's really about how to make a difference. I mean, I really do care about the next generation. And, something that really impacted me, first time I ever met Dick Heller, of course, famous Dick Heller from the 2008 Supreme Court decision. He wanted to buy a gun. He could have moved out of D.C. into Maryland or Virginia and bought that gun. But as I was talking to him, he said, the reason why I did this, he goes, I don't have kids, but I'm doing this for your kids. I'm doing this for the next generation. It wasn't just about himself. And that's really the idea of the gun rights activist. Having a man cave full of guns doesn't make you by default a gun rights activist. A gun rights activist, yeah, you care about the right for yourself, but you also want to preserve that right for the next generation.
It's funny you say that. Now, I'll ask you, Matthew. Yeah. I mean, you're part of that next generation.
I am.
Polls have shown that your generation isn't as active in the Second Amendment movement as previous. What is it that you see in your generation that is the reason for that? And what are some of the things that you see and things that you try to do to get them involved and engaged?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it comes down to just a lack of education and awareness on the issues. You know, people in my generation are inundated today with social media, with kind of indoctrination in formal education, and they're not being exposed to kind of what's at the heart of the matter here with the Second Amendment. And something we're trying to do here at GOA now is fill that gap. We see a need to educate our activists, especially young activists, and get them more involved. So what we're doing is we're getting in more to grassroots activist training. So we're taking resources like Firing Back and like Confrontational Politics, written by our founder, Senator H.L. Richardson, and we're bringing that education and those decades of experience to our activists in the field. So instead of, you know, we've been generating a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls, but we want to increase that, and then also increase, you know, in-person lobbying, getting in front of your representatives, getting FaceTime with them, and really making that ask, that call to action for them to, you know, step up and defend these rights that are inherent to us. So we think it's really important for people my age to get involved in that process. So we're going out into the field and giving that training to them. We're working with our Caliber Club members and our strategic partners, which is one of the reasons we're here today at SHOT, and leveraging the industry that, you know, this issue is directly involved with. I mean, almost everyone here's livelihood is tied up into it, and so that's just another issue that has to be addressed, and we're trying our best to do that through providing our experience to these activists.
You know, I got to think that there's some bit of a challenge in terms of dealing with some of these larger entities and organizations, because many of them have given into the corporate culture of being not so much anti-gun, but more politically correct and not fighting back, and really focused on, okay, I'm going to fight to the point that I protect my bottom line, and not as much into the protecting of the rights that are tied to it, if you know what I mean. And I think that's the sort of complacency that we've got to try and get them out of, as well as our politicians. I mean, a lot of politicians claim to be pro-Second Amendment, but they've never introduced a pro-gun bill, a gun that supports or advances our rights. They've never given a speech on the floor advocating for our rights, or even, you know, going up against an anti-gun bill. They may vote right, but simply voting right isn't enough. It's important that we're active. How do you meet those challenges in terms of getting the people who are they're with us, but, you know, they're almost like, as Mike likes to say, Second Amendment butts.
That's what I support the Second Amendment, but you know, not that part. I don't like that part.
Yeah, that part's not so cool.
Well, that's certainly always a challenge, and you know, and Matt talked about being part of it is education, and that's you know, one of the things that cracks me up. You know, my father was doing this long before I was, and I remember one industry type saying, "Yeah, whenever I would hear your dad speaking, I would think, man, he sounds radical." And he said, but then 5 years later, I found myself, I was agreeing with him. So sometimes it's just putting out the truth, putting out the principles, and sometimes the truth comes across as radical. You know, I mean, people have strayed so far from the Constitution that if you stand on the Constitution, you seem like you're a radical. That's right, and that's what they will call you. But the truth ends up prevailing. The truth ends up setting people free, and so that's what we're trying to do. And thankfully, yes, I mean, you identify there are compromisers out there. Thankfully, as we've been walking around here, there's a lot of no compromise people. They do not want. I just talked to two guys who fled Belarus. Oh my goodness, what a story. In fact, one of them was put in jail for 3 months. And I'm thinking, oh man, I'm talking to a guy who was in prison. Why were you in prison? And he was like, because I had guns. and you're considered a terrorist, and they're taking guns away from people, and so he went to jail. So they have fled here. They're living in North Carolina and they're loving it. I mean, these are the kind of stories we need to tell people. This is why we can't compromise.
The conversation we had right before you guys walked up to join us was about compromise. Not about compromise, but about not compromising. And it was here at SHOT Show this year. Obviously, a little bit different dynamic. We're still seeing some people that are not here because, and we're going to give them a pass. Like the older FFL mom and pops, they're a little bit more exposed, so they're not coming here. We're sitting in the Beretta Media Zone. Beretta's not here because Beretta bring half their staff from Italy and Europe is a big deal. But those that are here are the not compromised people. They're Second Amendment people in the gun industry. There's people that are not here that are those, I'm a businessman and I'll make your money on the left or I'll make my money on the right. It doesn't matter. They're not here. Those ones are not here this time. And I love that they're not here because we can call them out that they're not here. And I'm going to give it up. SIG, I'm going to call them on the carpet. That's what we do. If SIG came out with, gold-plated nickel guns tomorrow for a nickel to cost, I wouldn't buy one because of what they've done to us this year, what they've done to the industry. But everything that I'm seeing here at SHOT is, this is the no compromise group. And if you walk through here with that compromise, you're not making it through. I've seen a couple of trainers come through with that compromise attitude and get clean, cold called on the carpet this year and chased out of this place. So it's nice to see that going on.
No, you are 100% correct, Mike. And that's the thing is right now we're at a place where they are not even hiding the fact that they're coming after our guns. I mean, not just our guns. Let me be clear. They're coming after our rights. And they realize that once they've disarmed us, then they can come after everything else.
Yeah.
And, we already know, one only need to look at all the stuff that they're proposing in Congress to know that they're doing that. And it's organizations like yours. And what I've always liked about GOA is, once again, you're a no compromise organization, right? You're a group that believes in, look, what part of shall not be infringed do you not understand?
Right. And Craig, I know you understand this. I mean, the fact, our founders stated very clearly that our rights, all men are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I mean, these rights come from God. So that's why we can't give them up. That's why we can't compromise them. They're not privileges. These aren't things that we got from government. That's why things, at Gun Owners of America, we're trying to repeal things like background check. Why should we be asking for permission to exercise a God-given right? It's not even working to stop bad guys from getting guns. It only ends up harassing the good people, and in some cases, good people will die. Like Carol Bound of New Jersey died in a waiting for her gun to be approved, and the guy she was worried about came to her house and murdered her.
Right. Well, and the thing is because they pass these policies and they don't care what impact the policy actually has. What they care about is what their intent is. And as is the case with most Marxists, with most communists, all they care about is there's an intent. And they never really take the time to look at, okay, what happens where that sort of stuff is implemented, right? When you implement communism, 100 million people die.
Right.
Kind of simple. When you get smart on crime and decriminalize crime, criminals get out in the streets, crime goes up, people die. It's not rocket science. It's like, how about this? How about we just stop putting in place failed ideas? How about when we got tough on crime, guess what? Criminals said, you know what? This place is not very business friendly.
Right.
So let's find someplace else to do our dirt. Right? I don't when you allow people to defend themselves, criminals are more likely to say, I may want that, whatever they have, but I don't want to get shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a saying that an armed society is a polite society. You don't see a lot of predators going after the porcupine. So
That's exactly right.
I like that. All right, where can folks get the book, Firing Back?
So we are in the pre-order stage right now, but people can go to our website at gunowners.org And so that is the play. In fact, and when they go there, I encourage people sign up for our free email alerts.
There you go.
Because we are rallying people to stop gun control at the federal level and get gun control repealed across the country. But yes, at gunowners.org, that's going to be the place where people can order this book.
And like you said, people can find out, excuse me, all the work that you're doing there. They
Yes.
can sign up for the alerts.
Sign up.
My voice.
What you give it to me? Sign up for the alerts. Go there. Go and sign up for the alerts.
Here's the thing, folks. I get tired of hearing people say, "Oh, I didn't know." You didn't know because you didn't put yourself in a position to be able to know. If you go to their website and you sign up for the alerts, then you're in a position to know. Because they're going to let you know when stuff is coming up that you need to be taking action on. I can tell you right now, they have it set up so it's real easy for you guys to take action. So please make sure that you do that. All right, Matt and Eric, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
A lot of fun, a lot of fun. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's going to be it for this. That's going to be it for this interview. Probably for my voice. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you liking and sharing the program and telling your friends about the rundown.
Yeah, make sure you stick around tomorrow. We'll have somebody else sitting here doing the interviews for you. We don't know who yet, but it'll be somebody.
It will definitely be somebody. I'll alert you later.